Well, this one's going to be long and rambly. I scored a rifle today, and I had been wanting one, and I got a FAL. And that was not the gun I wanted. But God, it was hard to turn down because of the deal. And this is what I want to talk about. The FAL was not the exact gun I wanted, but it was one of a few guns that would be acceptable. And in my mind, those were the FAL, the G3, and the M14. These are basically the principal semi-automatic 7.62 NATO guns on the market, both back in the day and now. Like back in the day, there was the AR-10. It did exist, and now there is the AR-10, and it does exist. If you want to buy a Knight's Armament or something like that, go do that. Cool. I'm not into that expensive of a gun, and the cheap AR-10s don't do anything for me. So the Brownells Retro ones were kind of cool. I would have bought the Brownells Retro AR-10. But short of that, I wouldn't get one. And the main reasons are I just think the G3 FAL and M14 are cooler guns from pretty much every point of view. And I think that they are actually mostly better rifles than the AR-10. Like the M14, each one of these guns has its own issues. The M14 has mainly accuracy issues, and then people bitch about it not having a pistol grip stock. I don't really care. I like the M1 Grand. I think the M14 is a lot like the M1 Grand, but now it shoots 7.62 NATO, which is cheaper, and it's doing it out of 20 round box magazines, which is bitching. So, why do you hate the M14? Like, if you're like, well, they're a pain to keep accurate, welcome to the M1 Grand. Too, like that's just the nature of those guns. It's antiquated. I don't know if I would have picked the M14 if I were the U.S. Army. I really like it, and I'm glad they did because I like that gun. But I don't think I would have picked the FAL either. And it's odd that I get the FAL because it is my least favorite of the three. But the deal was really, really bitching good. It was a Century Arms Australian kit build, and it's got a metric receiver and a shitty like U.S. made furniture set and a like U.S. copy of a Belgian flash hider on it. So we're gonna fix some of that. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna get yet, but that needs to be rectified. And I want to get an L1A1 sling for it because I always thought those were fucking cool. But rabbit hole. Anyway, if my favorite of these three guns is really the G3. I think the G3 is a cool gun with a shitty stock. Like it has a free floated barrel, so it's more accurate than either of those other two guns by a lot. Most G3s, if they have a new barrel and they were built right, should be 1 minute guns, maybe 2 minute, so somewhere in that range. The FAL and the M14 could only hope to be that accurate. Most FALs and M14s end up somewhere in the 3 to 4 inch range. M14s that are like from Springfield Armory and brand new are like probably 1 to 2 MOA like the other gun. But the bitch about M14s is that they're a pain to keep accurate. As you shoot that gun, the groups are going to start opening up. And if I remember right, you have to like rebed the rifle or something. I never got into fucking with M14s other than buying the cheap Norinco ones and putting a couple of USGI parts on them to make them way, way better. That was to the extent that I got into M14s. I never even owned a Springfield Armory. But I really do like those guns. The thing I don't really care for about the FAL is its mags and its magazine release and everything to do with the magazine on this gun. I would rather have something else. I think its charging handle is actually pretty fucking dope. You know, that's the thing I really think the G3 wins on though too. Is like Of the charging handles, the G3 and the FAL have two of the coolest ones, I think. And they're both kind of flippy and they both pull down the side of the gun. I don't know. The HK slap just has it for me. I think it's a cooler gun. And the number one reason I prefer the G3 now over the FAL is because you can get G3 mags for like $5, $4, new in wrap. German surplus aluminum issue mags. Like they're really, really good mags. Like I've said a couple of times, if you don't have a G3, spend like $30 and go get some G3 mags and just tuck them away. They'll probably be worth more in the future. They're really cool mags. What about guns other than these three? Well, we already talked about the AR-10. So I guess the SCAR is the next logical one to talk about because that is like it and the HK. Oh, what do they call that? 417 are like the other two 308s that are out there, and the HK 417 is kind of an AR-10. It like I don't think a single part on that gun interchanges with AR-10s, but it's kind of one. We were at the SCAR. The SCAR Heavy is a cool gun. It's very lightweight and it's very accurate. It eats scopes. It's probably something you don't want. That's the other thing. Talking about the older 308s, basically, I think the G3 has the best of the scope options, which isn't saying much, really. Like, the FAL scope mount, I think, is stupid. Like, the only ones that are out there replace the dust cover, and, like, they just look hokey. There's some cool military ones, yeah, but I'm talking about, like, if you go to, like, DSA and buy their Picatinny conversion, I think that looks stupid. The G3 has the claw mount, which you can get B&T claw mounts that work pretty good, and I wouldn't hesitate to run a claw mount. You just need to make sure you Loctite that thing because, like, it will come loose, especially on 308. The other route to go is most of the PTRs now are coming with a 1913 rail welded to the top of them, and that's bitching. Like, that's really bitching. You put a little like T1 micro on that, boom, done. As far as I'm concerned, when I had a G3, I actually was running an Aimpoint T2 and a LaRue mount. Not T2, Comp M2, and that bigger tube diameter was kind of nice on that gun. And if I had another G3, I think I would probably get a similar optic to that. Actually, like the little optic looks cool. I think the bigger optic probably better on these, mainly because these are big guns already. So you're really not saving much weight by going with a smaller optic. And like the difference in weight between a Comp M2 and a T1 on an FAL, I think, is pointless. Get the bigger optic. What else? Oh, the cool thing about FALs is all of the fucking like furniture that's out there. Like, I guess it depends on which kind of gun you get, and because this is an inch pattern gun, I'm kind of limited. But like the FAL and the AK-47 are some of these guns that have this like treasure trove of cool furniture from around the world, and you can like make it look like a fucking Afghan rifle or something, or like it's got like a wooden handguard and a Bakelite pistol grip and a stock that was homemade out of a shovel, and like I just think that stuff's kind of cool. I wouldn't put the shovel stock on it, but I think I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I want to go wood or plastic on the FAL furniture, and for 922R, you're going to have to replace some parts, so I'm going to have to do that. I was really looking forward to getting an M14. I was planning on buying a Springfield Armory and probably getting bitched out about it from friends of mine. But, you know, cares? I was looking at getting a SOCOM 16, and I think that's a pretty cool gun. Like, in some ways, any 308 that you chop the barrel down like that is going to be like a little bit performance limited, right? So that's not cool. But at the same time, that little fucking barrel on the SOCOM 16, I just think is bitching. And it would just, I don't know, be a handy like ranch rifle kind of thing. And that's what I was looking for, was one gun for everything. And to me, that's a 308. And that's why we were looking at 308s in the first place, or 7.62 NATOs. I use those terms pretty much interchangeably. They are not quite interchangeable. If you want to know the difference, Google it. Nerds on the internet will tell you. But basically, there's no difference. Anyway, I think a semi-auto 7.62 NATO gun is pretty much the way to go if you want one gun for everything. Because, like, I like to read history a lot and think about that kind of shit. And, like, Jeff Cooper's scout rifle, a lot of his premises on that gun assume a great many things. And if those things don't apply to you, then, you know, his ideas about cartridge still do, which is basically that you need a military caliber because of availability and cost of ammunition. And that military caliber should be the general purpose machine gun caliber or battle rifle caliber of the nation that you're going to be doing whatever this is in. So, like, say you're going to go to Africa and go on safari, you know, and they all use 308s. Take a 308 because in that country, 308 is going to be easier to find that kind of logic. And in most of the world that I would ever go to, it's NATO countries. So I'm thinking like same thing as Jeff Cooper. Jeff Cooper said a 308 bolt action. I'm saying a 308 but semi-auto now, mainly because like I really feel you're running behind the curve running a bolt action. And this is a gun that I think you could defend yourself with. That could also be a hunting rifle. That could be animal defense. Like, there's basically no scenario on Earth that if you handed me an FAL, I would feel underarmed. There's just not. Like, there's some, like, elephants and rhinos and shit like that. But, like, even then, if you had, like, 20 rounds of, like, AP or something, I would assume that would probably do some damage. But, like, short of those, I really can't think of anything where I'd be like, oh, shit, I brought the wrong gun. And I don't know how big of a concern that is, but all the rest of my guns were 9mm. So that was my concern, was what if I didn't bring enough gun? Which I think the 308 solves nicely. Like, if you've ever seen one shoot at all, like, they're fun to shoot. This is the other reason to get a 308 is if you can ever buy steel-cased Russian ammo cheap again, you can go just, like, machine gun it into, like, a pile of trash and have fun with your friends. It's fun. And, like, you can't do that with a bolt-action hunting rifle. So I'm not saying, like, Jeff Cooper was wrong. I'm saying that, like, I think his information is dated when it comes to the scout rifle. I really think if you got like a FAL or a G3 and made it as light as possible and put a red dot on it, that's your modern scout rifle. Well, anyway, this has been my thoughts on 308s. So, thanks for watching.